AITA for telling my husband and his family they need to back off my son. My 16-year-old son has been struggling with depression and recently started taking antidepressants. His therapist warned us about potential side effects, like irritability and lack of motivation, especially during the first few weeks. We've noticed that he only responds well when asked kindly. If anyone raises their voice or speaks harshly, he shuts down and responds with, "Do it yourself," or even throws out insults. He's been spending a lot of time walking outside or at the gym as his way of coping. I've tried explaining to my husband and his family that he needs understanding right now, not pressure, but they don't always see it that way. They think he's being lazy or disrespectful and have been pushing him to man up. I've had to constantly remind them that he's going through a tough time and needs space. At a recent family gathering, things escalated. My son was doing all right until his uncle started making comments about how he was always sulking and needed to toughen up. My son tried to walk away, but his uncle kept pushing, saying things like, "If I were your father, you wouldn't get away with this." My son snapped, got in his uncle's face, and said, "I'm a bigger man at 16 than you'll ever be." The uncle backed down, but the situation was tense. My son's aunt immediately sided with us and told her husband that he was completely out of line. After she calmed things down, my son hugged her tightly, clearly grateful for her support. Then he came over to me, hugged me, and snuggled his face against mine, seeking comfort. After the incident, my husband tried to criticize our son, saying he needs more discipline. That's when I lost it. I told my husband, "Go ahead, try that discipline and see how badly it ends for you. Our son is not in a place to be pushed right now, and you need to back off before you make things worse." My husband backed down, though it was clear he wasn't happy. I then turned to my son's uncle and told him to never speak to my son like that again. I made it clear that he had no right to belittle my son when he's already dealing with so much. Seeing how angry my son was, I decided it was best to leave the gathering. I told my husband that we were going home and that he could stay if he wanted. I didn't want to drag my son through more of the evening stress. My husband stayed behind, frustrated, while I took our son home. Once we got home, we settled in to watch a movie. I held my son in my arms on the couch, and he seemed to really enjoy the comfort and closeness. It was a peaceful end to a stressful day, and it was clear he appreciated the quiet and support. When my husband eventually came home, he tried mention more, and I had shut him down again. He backed down once more, though it was clear he was still unhappy. He thinks I'm babying our son and that he needs more discipline, but I believe he's going through a tough time and needs our support, not more criticism.